I'm better off without your animosity. I'll even sleep better at night. I won't believe in you, reminding me of everything you put me through. Now everything just feels alright, alright. I feel so betrayed, mistaken. I create another day. You'll be gone tomorrow night. To me, your faceless. You made me out to be responsible for your self-inflicted misery. It never felt like this before. Don't be surprised to see that I have nothing left for you to bleed. When you come crawling back for more. I feel so betrayed, mistaken. I create another day. You'll be gone tomorrow night. To me, your faceless. And I create another day. You'll be gone tomorrow night. To me, your faceless. Another day, you'll be gone tomorrow night. To me, your faceless. And I create another day. You'll be gone tomorrow night. To me, your faceless. I get to mind me, why don't you mind me? Am I so different from you? Nothing to scare you, and I'm able to discern what the love and what the burn. I make you feel the way you now stand back, but I take your hand back, even in the mind back. But then I smile and do you see? You don't judge, and you don't understand. You can deny what has been given to me. I don't wanna be innocent, you know. I don't wanna be living in the dying day. I don't wanna be innocent, you know. I don't wanna live in the dying day. Hero again, going in now and then, and I'm gonna you hero again. Going in now, you'll feel awakened. Going in now and then, and I'm gonna go, you feel awakened. Your mind is racing, erasing love. You know why, you know that. You know I bet you think you have a good reason to be living in the night. I never did it once, you know.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Laughing Lamp. I am your host, Jin of The Lamp, and I will be your interfere for the next X amount of time to come. Today I played two songs. Today I played two songs for an interesting reason. At least I claim it to be an interesting reason. You see how we can claim anything that we want. First of all, can you guess the artists? Yeah, I mentioned them in the last video. Two artists that I just played were Godsmack and Disturbed, and I played both of their 2000 release, excuse the flies, release albums, Faceless. You see how we get going like this? Godsmack's song, Faceless, is the first one that I played. And Fear by Disturbed. Fear by Disturbed. And they're The Sickness album, both released in 2000. And I think we have lost taste on somewhat I claim to be good music. Of course, I'm going to claim to be good music. It's my music. I listen to it and have listened to it for a long time. But I think those are quite a few gems that we tend to skip by when it comes to a full album length of release of music. And now I played two songs. Why? Well, today is the 9th video installment of the Laughing Lamps conversation sessions, the very salty coded conversation, salty code. And in my weird world, a 9 to me just symbolizes an upside down 6, and a 6 could just symbolize an upside down 9. And I guess I could have done that on video 6, but I saved the coincidence for video number 9. And I played a cross and an upside down cross. Y'all remember Jesus and St. Peter, right? Y'all remember Shagrath and his tattoo? Well, you don't know Dimmu Borgir. Well, he had a tattoo, Shagrath, the lead singer for Dimmu Borgir, of an upside down cross. And I think because of lack of knowledge, over the years, he got it covered up. So it's not there anymore. If those of you who listen to them can follow some of their live music videos or any of their music videos that they did put out, and you'll notice the tattoo that was there is covered up. But needless to say, that's the lack of knowledge that our folks have towards symbols and many other, well, symbols, anything that symbolizes anything. And I think George Carlin, one of my favorite comedians or speakers, I'll just call him a speaker. It's only funny to those who find it funny. Others may have found it very, very hurtful. And how dare you speak these things? Keep those thoughts in your head, old man. Well, I like to think that I'm kind of like that. I don't have his comedy. I don't have his performance. Hell, I probably don't have his mindset. If anything, I probably have a worse mindset, a more cruel one. But that's, I think, a lack of fear. The two songs that I played today were 2 out of 4 choices. I picked 2 and 2 from each album. And actually, I had my partner choose which songs she preferred me to play. And she says by the sounds of the songs and potentially some of the lyrics, she claims these two as a more me type. The original songs I was going to play was Godsmack's I Am and Disturbed's Conflict, and Disturbed's Conflict. and it was meant to come together as I Am Conflict. These, luckily enough, interestingly, she chose the two other titles, and it turned into Faceless Fear. Obviously, I'm not faceless. I show my face once a week at least. And I'm definitely my own inner fear. At least I claim that. And I don't know about, I have my own fears and so on and so forth. So what do I have on today? And what did I have on in the background before we get to today's videos? And I just explained the songs, 6 and 9 being upside down reciprocals, or excuse me, upside down versions of each other. And I incorporated Christianity's cross, and they're upside down crossed. And I just did not explain the story on the upside down cross. And I may get into that if I remember to, because St. Peter has a big part in the Christian church that has been established, or that was established many years ago in Syria. You see, we fail to realize that Syria, we just say they're Arabs, they're Muslims. Syria was originally one big ass country, one big ass Christian country that was segregated into different forms of Christianity and the newcomer Islam. At the same time, it was segregating its states and turned it into a smaller Syria, a Lebanon, a Jordan, a so on and so forth. And now there are many countries in the Middle East that make up what used to be a united Syria, and all of them used to be a united Christian religion. But needless to say, that is another aspect of unity being segregated and divided into small little statuettes and scripture differences and how many girls you can marry and so on and so forth. Y'all a bunch of fools as far as I'm concerned, because we're misinterpreting as far as I see it and feel it. See it and feel it, because I want to claim more on the feeling side. Because when, again, I said this maybe last video, when I read a story or when I attempt to read a book, I hope for the book's words to capture my imagination in order for me to continue reading it, even if it is just attention. The attention is the most part, because if you're reading for knowledge aspects, you may want that knowledge to grasp you so that you could dig deeper into it. Even the most hurtful and condescending truths or facts, we get sucked into it because it is actually against our original thought process, but at the same time, it was well written by the person that we're reading it from. So we interpret those as, different sources of lights that actually capture me and took me away from a different light that I was originally seeking or following, if you will. I was being guided by one light, and I read or saw another light. I read into it, and I decided, your choice factor, I decided to follow that light instead. It'd be nice if all of us had those kinds of choices. And I'm one to say that we always have a choice, and it's where you are. It was the choice that you made, wherever you are. The choices you made, the people you slept with, the handshakes you shook, the yeses you agreed to, the no's you denied, so on and so forth. So on and so forth, to each their own. And I'll get into some of those. Let me show around a couple of the, because today I'm just in a good mood, and I have on, okay, what I have on, and then we'll get into some of the stuff I have on the side here. Yep, that's my speaker, baby. It's my baby little Bose speaker. We'll move that over here. Let's present the two trophies that I had, because I mentioned that I played Pee-wee, at least Pee-wee football, and we won 2 championships, and I did dig around, and I did finally find them, yeah. I did. Now, this one right here, this was the Garfield Invitational in 1998, 6th Annual Garfield Invitational Tournament Champions, and I should have known I was playing for Clifton. And we played against Garfield, and I should have known then, after we destroyed them, that they were going to suck when we moved over to that town. And I did not play football for Garfield when we moved there. It sucked. And when I say they sucked, listen, there's standards of football and things you get used to. There's standards of any sport and things you get used to. How good you could hit a ball, how good you could run, how good you could this, and you know you can get through holes, and you know how good you can play, and you know how bad you can play. This team played so horrible, it showed us that we were uber good. And we were not. We were just a very good, well, communicated team. We played well together, and most other teams gave us a hell of a challenge. And to be honest with you, I kind of remember the day going into it. After my first 2 touchdowns, I said to myself, how the hell are these guys any kind of competitors to us? Now, I think last week or the week before, I had mentioned sometimes we end up running a little too far with the bowling ball factor, and you go too far with the ball when you try to release, but it gets caught in your fingers, for example, and you end up flying with the ball. This was the game, and I forgot the saying that was given to me. Not happy feet. I forgot what it was. Here's my point. I was a halfback, and I got the ball immediately after the hike to run into a hole. For example, slot right, 37 dive. And I dive into the hole, and both runs, I had 2 runs right off the when we get the ball. both of them for a one-play near touchdown run. When I never got 65 yards of freedom to run before, and I guess I got a little overexcited. The point being is I looked over my shoulder for just 1 second and looked back forward again, and I lost my place, tripped, and fell forward. Whoops, boop, boop, boop. Happened the first time. Everybody got a laugh. It happened a second time immediately after recovering the ball again. And the coach really, he knocked into me, says, "What's wrong with you?" And I forgot the saying that he gave me for the feet clumsiness that it was. You're very excited about it, and you trip and you fall forward, or you fall before the end zone. And I swear, both times was maybe this far, an inch from the end zone, and he did not let me have the satisfaction of running it in for the quick and easy touchdown. No, he gave it to another halfback of ours. And that was the Garfield game. We won. And then this was the Wayne Invitational Tournament, Pee Wee Champions of 98, same year. We made the newspaper with this one, and this one is much heavier than this one, too. And I mentioned that Wayne Boys and Girls Club, the first time around mid-season, in the middle of the season, they destroyed us, both JV and varsity. And then when we caught up to them in the varsity championships, we won! Yeah. We took the victory and destroyed Wayne. Now, I guess I should say I did not play a halfback that game. No, I played fullback. I was meant to block for the idiot who blocked for me all season. And I'm joking when I say that because, first of all, he didn't block a damn thing. I was called getting off the line too fast after the hike. The quarterback, I won't mention his name either, who actually shat-talked me the following year. But the quarterback says I was getting to him faster than the ball gets to his hand after the set, go, whatever the hike standard was. Sometimes it's on set, sometimes it's on ready, sometimes it's on 2 goes, 1 go, 3 goes. Anybody who's played can understand that factor. So don't think of me as stupid. I do understand keywords, and I understand teamwork, and I understand sportsmanship. I just prefer not to be social, and I choose to be the person that I am today, thanks to choice, thanks to free will, and freedoms of all natures and sorts. Those are the. I want to add on to it. I brought quite a few things today just to show off and have a little fun before I get into the posts, because today should be a fun week. Every day should be a fun day, leading to a fun week, to a fun weekend, so on and so forth. Ooh, apologies. Done knocked my sunflower seeds over. Oh, I knocked them over so bad they fell out. I'll have to clean up that mess later. And then here's Mr. Number 36 right here. Number 36 right here. Yes, and if I recall, I'm right there. Yeah, I'm right there in my little football picture. Clifton Mustangs, Pee Wee League, baby. Yes. And I'm going to bring in to mention, another day. Let's see if I can find myself here now. I know most of these players, and the team was actually much bigger than this. I'm not really sure why all of them were not taken in this photo. There was a hell of a picture right there. And then there's me. I'm sitting right there. I was the catcher, and I apologize for the clarity of the camera, but it is what it is. Appreciate my face more than anything. This is a kid me anyway. Does it have the year? It does not. But I have the next thing, which will give me a year anyway, I believe. I believe. I truly believe. I used to believe. And I woke up. That's just a joke. Just a joke. Baseball. I played baseball 2 years. I played football 1 year. And in my 2 years of baseball, it was easy stuff. It's all Pee Wee stuff. So, most people do end up getting accepted into the All-Star team franchise. But I made the All-Star team twice as catcher. And as a matter of fact, 2002. So this was a couple years after football. I got the game ball. I know the light kind of reflects it differently. But I got the game ball versus Central. Great pitching. Bobby Hanna. That's a nickname I had when I was a kid. And from Clifton Elementary School, Clifton Middle School, Garfield Middle School, and Garfield High School, it was kind of hard to make the transition because everybody looks at the name Ibrahim as an official name and the weird nickname Bobby. How'd you get it? And there's quite a few stories on that. I'm the memory stone that I have on the name. Well, let me get into the ball first. And okay, so what happened? I'm catcher. I play catcher position. And we got to the game really early. And I decided, I think Jay was pitching or Jeff was pitching, one of the two. Both of them got rocket arms. And as a catcher, a peewee catcher, anybody who played catcher can know who's got a really good arm because of the thwop sound it makes when it hands in the glove and how much it actually hurts. And through the glove and padding and everything, it fucking hurt. Jay, especially that little midget, fucking pitch a ball. And he barely had a windup. It was actually funny to watch him pitch. But anyway, needless to say, I forgot who was pitching that day. And I said to the person pitching, I think it was Jeff, hey, do me a favor, put my pads on and let me just throw a few at you. You'll have pads on, so don't worry about wild pitches. As I could not throw. I thought I could not throw straight. And he did. Put on a couple of the pads, got the glove, his own normal glove, and I got to throw a few. For some reason that day, my fastballs is all I was throwing. Every ball just went right down the fucking center. The umpire says, he's walking around watching the practice. The umpire says, hey, man, good arm. Are you pitching today? And my coach Rick says, no, he's my catcher. But I tell you what, hey, Bob, you want to pitch today? I got nervous. And at the time, I think this was my first year going around, maybe my second year. I can't remember. At the time, I know my best friend at the time was playing with me, and he, nudged the idea. No, go ahead, pitch this game. Go ahead, you're doing well. And I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. Boy, I got strikeouts after strikeouts, a couple of hits, but they were grounded out. I think one hit down center field, and they were eventually tagged out. Nobody scored on the enemy team that day. And I think I had 3 total hits and strikeouts the rest of the way. Henceforth, great pitching on this side of the ball. I know it's hard to see. Sorry, guys. Great pitching here. My name, Bobby Hanna here. The day was 6/7/2002. Game ball versus Central. My baseball days. Baseball days. Just for shits and giggles, I didn't receive one for Clifton because I didn't graduate from that. But this is Thomas Jefferson Middle School in Garfield. A little graduating diploma for the middle school. It's kind of silly, but they did give us one. And then we have the Garfield High School diploma. Yeah. Okay, that's out of the way. We got the diplomas out of the way. Oh, just to here, 2000. That game wall was in 2002. And I believe the season's carried over into the following year. So there you go. My baseball days as a kinder kid. That's the German, guys. German. Alemani. Okay, I know what I have here. These are fun. Let's just introduce them and get them out of the way, because I made an error about my summer school. I done fucked up. I remember one of the sciences was biology, and that was definitely a summer school that I went to Clifton Middle School for. Now, Clifton High School. And I guess Clifton High School is where I went for 2 classes. Because, now I don't remember the 2 classes. I just know biology was one of them. Because this piece of paper right here in my hand, it says, not Sacred Heart, but it says Queen of Peace. Again, not clarity. I'm doing the best I can. It is what it is. I'll read it to you. This is Queen of Peace High School that I went for Italian 2. I failed Italian 2. Remember that. Subject, Italian 2, grade 91. That's an A by many school standards. A minus, I guess, if you want to be technical about it. I got an A minus in the summer school portion. Now, granted, anybody who's been to summer school can say, dude, it's too easy. That is meant for you to pass. And if you fail summer school, you really... Well, perhaps you're right. But I learned one thing in my summer school. It's the only time, and Clifton as well, that I was actually able to learn. I got more attention in the class of 30 summer school students. Each of them needed attention because they failed. And I got more attention in those classes of summer school than I ever got throughout the 180 days of actual school time. Bunch of ridiculousness, if you ask me. And you wonder why I rebelled against studying and doing homework and all kind of stuff. Well, those are silly reasons. Gonna drop a dime on these cocksuckers. Oh, I can't see goddamn reflection. JATSE. JATSE is the Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee for local beep, 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 beep. I won't tell you any of these motherfucking numbers. For a local union, electricians union. And I took the test. Opening the letter now. On the test, the scoring range of 9, being a 9, you will receive further instructions pertaining to your application. Okay. The score indicates your standing compared to a nationwide sample of approximately 5,000 applicants. You had a passing score or 4 or higher on the test, ranging from 1 to 9. So I guess it's a mid-average. Needless to say, I got accepted and was put on a 2-year waiting list to be picked up for apprenticeship. After your first year, they send you another letter of a reminder. Hey, by the way, did you know you're still on the waiting list? Would you like to remain on the list for your final year before you have to reapply and retest all over again? I didn't even bother to check the box and send them a letter back. And let me tell you why. I was working security at the time that I was doing all this. And one of the guards I was working for, a young buck, and he was a part-time reservist National Guard as well. So listen, names are more important than what the fuck he was, because I was a veteran with a college degree when I applied for all this. He was a high school graduate, National Guard, current reservist with a security overnight detail job and a very powerful name where he comes from in New Jersey. I told him I had just received my letter. And I was sharing my story that day. I had told him it was coming. And during this time, this guard was also telling me he was considering it. And when I received this letter, I brought it to work to say, hey, look, but they're going to put me on a waiting list. He says, oh, wow, really, dude? I just took my test last month and they picked me up already. Well, I guess the overthinking process of that, huh? Just overthinking on why he gets and why and what did he know and whose dick did he suck and whose hand did he shake and so on and so forth and blah, 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 blah. But there was a reason for it. And coming from where I say I come from in New Jersey, Bergen County especially, names and stature standing is very, very important. This right here, this American flag beaded necklace was given to me on my first civilian job after the military, after college graduation. I ended up needing a civilian job and I got into medical transportation, pushing wheelchairs, picking up discharges, taking them to rehab, so on and so forth. This lady, forgive me, I forget her name. I took her discharge from rehab and took her to hospice. And anybody who's had family been in that lovely word of a place, hospice, you're going there to die. You're going there to die. And I had visited that place quite a few times after I dropped her off. And I would always stop by her room and say, hello, how are you? How are you? She loved the Navy. She liked my hair at the time, too. She complimented my hair. She's an old lady. Soft, sweetie. And she was doing this until she died. She made me this. By the time, when I got this, she told me, next time I see you, I will have a Navy one made for you. And I guess, lo and behold, it took a few weeks until I ever saw that place again. And by the time I got there, she perished. She was gone. I still have the American beads. I never got my Navy one. You think I don't have a heart? You think I'm emotionless? I'm feelingless? Go fuck yourselves. The things that attach feeling to me are different than what the fuck you feel for. This, what I'm wearing, is a gift from my partner. And I apologize that it's hard to see. It comes with three stones or three charms, because Laughing Lamp is meant to be a community someday. And we are meant to be charming individuals because of charms. We all wear charms on our bracelets and necklaces. These are all charms. And we were meant to be a charming community at the Laughing Lamp, a retreat where we retreat you the way you have treated us all our lives. Now, what we have here is a J in a weird scripture text for Jinn, a literal lamp, and my, I know it's hard to see. It's my August birthstone gem. Yeah, I know. I apologize. My August birthstone gem given to me. And one of the last things I'll pull out paperwork-wise real quick, just to show. This was a disciplinary notice that I got to write on somebody for her constant tardiness. And yeah, she ended up getting fired because she just couldn't handle coming to work on time. Would always call me with a car broke down excuse or boyfriend fighting excuse. And now we say they're excuses and bullshit, but her car was a junker. So we took that. And one time her boyfriend actually dropped her off and they got into a big fucking debate right outside the door. Bitch, go fucking check in first and go argue afterwards. Let me fucking go home. I need to go home. But needless to say, after about a couple of weeks of her being late, and the disciplinary notice says 2 times this week, that was 2 times that week by the time we gave her this. Because we gave her the verbal, she tried her best, she done fucked up. And I don't mean 15-minute fuck-ups, dude. I'm used to 15, 20 minutes late, not a problem. This bitch, an hour late, and my boss at the time claims that he don't like to give overtime, but I knew the kind of money that he was storing and making, so really paying me overtime didn't touch a fucking thing in his pocket. We're not entitled to that information. I got yelled at or scrutinized by the boss after him when I had to go back to security. And he told me, you're not supposed to know those numbers. He was never meant to share anything like that. You're not supposed to know that. And I believe knowing the numbers is what made my new boss despise the fuck out of me and make me want to, or find a way to get me out of there. Because I knew the numbers and maybe he thought I was going to ask him for a raise based off of how much I knew he was at least making on the contract. That's when I got my eye-opening how contracts work, contract bidding, contract war, and it's already pre-established on who's going to win it, and you have a magic number to say regardless. And even if somebody competes with the same number, they're going to choose you for reputation purposes over somebody else. So don't be afraid to have the same bid as somebody else. Your standing and reputation, or should I say your selection, you've been chosen beforehand. You see the dirty world that we live in. It's a true dirty world. My boss was meant to have that contract until his money laundering was done. When his money laundering was done, it's time for the up bosses to put in a new person in that spot. So we'll end with that note because we're going to go on to our first post today. Did y'all see that on Facebook? For those that did not, I shared the face of the civilianized release of his job and the incarcerated face of the when he went into jail in 2005. This is the guy that presides over our lovely trailer park and home, makes sure that monthly payments are due, and if there's any claims that you need to put into, you go through him. But he's the realtor that we go through for any and all situations. And I decided, he's in an interesting spot in Cocoa, Florida, and let me Google his name, see if anything else comes up. And I found his real estate business, and then I found an arrest record. That's the same motherfucker. And this trailer park, you see, when you make one and one, you gotta be able to fit the pieces together. You can't just assume and give everybody a big picture of a number two, and then hope everybody just, yeah, I know, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Very good. No. Name, arrest, address. If you read the report, it mentions even more specifics on the individual. And I said, oh, this is that same motherfucker. And the face is, hey, that's a Coke face, and that's a slightly healthier face. Not really. He still has Coke face. And I decided, let me introduce him to let the world out there know, just in Florida, that, and hey, do you think you're a felon and your life is ruined? No, it ain't. It ain't ruined. They will find a way to put you in a right position, right spot. And there are also some markings in your life that will not and do not affect your current job standing or your certificates that you hold. That's just the way it works. Military members, on the other hand, they know better than to act foolish, because that dishonorable discharge will screw you in many, many, many jobs afterwards. And a lot of people, even though without the military experience, when you have a civilian job and you either leave on your own accord inappropriately, your record follows you. And if you use them as a reference, it won't be good. Or if you get fired, especially for a negative reason, like I have a legitimate paper bad reason of being fired. When I say bad reason, I mean a negative outlook record. The record will say that I am a, what's the wording? The actual wording. Not fraudulent documentations. Something like forging documentations or something like that. Because of the 5 minutes out of the camera shot, and then I put in the work order that I was there for the full 30 minutes. And obviously for like 5 minutes, I wasn't there because I was having a cigarette. But needless to say, those are just small things that people use against you to write you up. And I have a firing for that. I didn't get a chance to walk out of it. I'll get into another interesting story. The security boss, the second one, the one that didn't like me because I guess I knew the money and other factors. He took me to the office, and he told me certain words got back to a certain person and I have to take action. So either I fire you for slander, well, and I think I said this another, or you can quit on your own accord. So he gave me a choice, which let me know, first of all, that it was bullshit, because the person that he said was complaining about me, I earned his respect already from the previous boss, and the previous boss had taught me the subtle way to know that you earned a certain person's respect. And a situation arose where I earned his respect, and from that point on, I never had his negative side ever again. As a matter of fact, see, I wish I could just throw out my references. As a matter of fact, just to attest to that truth a little bit in my own storytelling, every time something happened on a security purpose, this person would wait until I checked in to ask me if I got an update on what happened and what do I think. So I've had conversations with this gentleman before, one-on-one, and I know who he can be, and I know he's dirty. But I had his respect regardless. So there was no way you were going to fire me for slander unless you were just going to do it, because you can use the wording to attack you as opposed to who was actually offended. See, he says he was offended about talking about him. But he could have just said I was talking about him and he was offended and I'll fire you for slander regardless. He let me walk out of there. Okay. And then I was escorted out of there by his partner. Stupid show. A stupid show. Needless to say, I have a quit record on that. And then my second job down here in Florida, which was referred to by street psychologists that set me up for failure. I'm going to word it that way on purpose because that's what it is. Street psychologists who set me up for failure. And then they pulled that on me, and I guess they tried to correct me. Now, the attack started for certain reasons. One day I'll get into those stories, but I have now a negative record because of it, because I have an official firing for document forgery or some shit like that. I forgot exactly how it's worded, for documentation, fucking up around documents. So it's going to be very hard if I were to apply for another commercial job, civilian job, normal job, 9-to-5 job, and even think to use them as a reference. Now, these people, and I'm sorry for your organization, fuck you, Freemasons. I have another Freemason that I know of in New Jersey who I got into a conversation with actually and told me, this was a while back, I confessed to him about my current boss, so he kind of knows a little bit about me, the New Jersey Mason. And he told me, you know what, Abe? Unfortunately, like everything in this life, there is a good and bad to everything, and it seems like you have encountered a bad side of the Masonry. Now, he comes off awkward as well. With all due respect, if you're watching this, you know who you are, and you do come off slightly weird. You come off fruity, and your looks. I'm not, I guess, a normal human being. You look funny, dude. You laugh funny, you smile funny, and you very awkwardly friendly to strangers. That could be a good thing to me as who I am, as the individual that I am, and the way that I perceive communication. You came off very hard, and I don't know how to be. I didn't know at the time how to be upfront about it. So I over the years, I guess I kind of confessed how I felt about you and how I felt about Freemasonry. Fuck all that stuff, to be honest with you, because the one down here who screwed me over is a New Jersey born and raised Freemason as well. He's now in Florida, and I told you it's a criminal state. His brother worked for us too, and that motherfucker was on probation or parole at the time for something he did in fucking Texas. He's a pervert. He's a fucking sexual deviant who knows his computer is supposedly a hacking story, and I think he fucked the wrong person and had to make a runaway for it. But that record has been squashed. There's no public record of it. I forgot the terminology the courts use, but you will not be able to find that record. It is gone. Yeah, they paid it off. Fucking Freemason Jersey motherfuckers. And now they're on the run in Florida, but I think he's going back to Texas when his shit's done, if he's not back already. I give two fucks. He's not here no more, at least in my life, because I moved on. I'm somewhere else now. All right, we'll move on to the next post. I introduced the guy who runs our real estate, and there's nothing I can do to change him. There's nothing I can do to remove his certificate, and there's nothing I want to do. I have to do what I have to do. What I have to do is just make sure at the moment, there's a lot I have to do. I have to make sure we live in a better environment. I have to make sure my family's safe. Yeah. But I also have to make sure until then, the roof is paid for and we're well fed, showered, hygiened, and well maintained. You have to do all that while you prep for the next step. That's where the hard work and stress comes from. The communication between you, your partner, and everything else. Well, I've rambled in this beginning, haven't I? Well, let's move on then. Let's just a little bit then. We've introduced those things. I have more things to introduce. So I guess today will be a slightly long video. Slightly. I don't know. I may end up running through the stuff faster than I want to, because I haven't really learned to control my talking when I'm live. I still get very nervous. I'm very fearful of every video that I do. and trying to maintain my speech pattern in a manner where it's clear and concise. Even when I rewatch my videos, because it's me, I understand myself. I'm not sure if everybody else can understand the speed and tempo at which I speak and how I can discombobulate information every now and then. I notice these things about myself. I told you, I rewatch myself just to make sure. And yeah, I judge and criticize myself, as well as being criticized by those friends around here that have watched my videos and says, dude, I mean, I get some interesting criticisms, but nothing that has told me to stop. And none of y'all have told me to stop yet either. Not really get involved either, but I haven't been told to stop. And I'm not going to. I mean, until YouTube really stops me, I'm going to vent out my craziness every Friday. That's the way it goes. So let's go on to the next post, shall we? Let's move on. Oh, my other accessory. It's a Lego Joker watch. It's the only, I don't wear fucking Rolexes and shit. That's stupid. This is what I'll wear. I'll wear this and a Metallica shirt to represent, by the way, the third band that I grew up to in the heavy metal phase and transition into full-blown metal music from hip-hop, like Nas and Tupac. I used to listen to all that shit. And then I grew out of it. Okay. I said in a post, perhaps your soul exists in memories. Perhaps you live on by how you are remembered. This may be your heaven. This may be your hell. In the most negative of things, are you positive enough? We live our lives on our own standards of right and wrong, sin and no sin, and righteousness and good and bad and evil and good. What the fuck? You live by so many standards, and yet you still, at the end of your day or throughout your week or months or days at work or days with your family, you find something you regret, and you're not sure if you can live with it, if you could forgive yourself for it. What? Why? I guess another factor is, how will you remember me? What kind of memory stone did I leave for you, for my children, for my parents? Should I perish before them? In a perfect world, the children should die after their parents. In a perfect world. But that doesn't happen all the time, does it? And then what kind of memory do we have of them? And do they think about what kind of memory they left behind with us? Because if you're okay with your sins in your life, but you're not okay with the memories you left behind, could that not be something to put you in the wrong place? Or is that where Catholics deem to me the place where you go purgatory? I don't know. Because as far as I'm concerned, every religion and every culture has a potential regret that they'll have no matter what belief they have at the end of their lifetime. If it's reincarnation, if it's a heaven, if it's a hell, at the end of the day, your true moment of I know where I'm going, I believe in my theory, is just before you die, the bed bug on your deathbed. The one that crawls out of fucking nowhere, especially when Mary Ann walks into the room. Squeak, squeak, please squeak. I'm sorry I raped you. To each their own story. To each their own story. But I believe in my theory, at the end of your days, at the end of your life, even if it's a sudden gunshot today or a crash on the motorway, whatever it might be, I believe that flash, suppose it exists. A flash towards darkness was the entitlement of my short story. And I believe that everybody receives, in a theory, and I haven't had any experience to prove it, some kind of a flash towards their life. Even if it is in anybody's, like for my example, in my religion, my former religion, you'd have St. Peter at the gate greeting you and telling you that you're not worthy or you are worthy. Or that's the joke. And I know Family Guy makes fun of it quite a few times. And you get judged there and you get to rewatch your life. And I believe in the rewatching of your life, you're going to see things in that third person view of yourself. Oh shit, did I really act that way? Did I really say that to somebody? Did they really take it that way? The memory you just left in that person is now rewatched in your mind. And now you're feeling what they're feeling at the time. So in that most negative of things in your life, are you positive enough? Are you positive enough to get to whatever your fucking next step is? Good enough to get to your heaven? Good enough for you to reincarnate? Good enough for you to be an eternal whatever the fuck, a guardian of the living? The big jokes, I think George Carlin says, why the hell would my grandparents want to watch their parents, want to watch their kids, and want to watch their kids, want to watch their kids? I don't want to watch anybody else after I'm gone either. I just want to watch my own self. I got an infinite lifetime. Why the hell would I want to watch here? That's the joke for George Carlin. But I think that's somewhat accurate to a degree. I've spent my time here. I've done my shit here. I've seen you do your shit here. I remember interacting with you, and I remember you interacting with me. Why the fuck would I want to watch over you after I'm gone first? Fuck you, to be honest with you. And that goes for any children that we have too, with all due respect. By that time, hopefully you've lived a good enough life to leave some kind of impression with your children. And I'm sorry for those that leave a little too young, but it is what it is. Sorry, your children will have to make do for that afterwards. And I guess you could say I do have a piece of advice for them too, but until they get older, perhaps their mentality won't be able to understand the concept of why mommy and daddy was gone or why my life is where it is. And again, these videos are not directed towards underage children, and I do check the box that it's not meant to be. Granted, it has public access. The language that I use and the ways that I interpret things are definitely not meant for your children's ears, but is perhaps not even meant for yours. It's not meant for any public consumption, as I was once told by a veterans group down here. But when it is consumed, it's now up to you to interpret it and break it down to an understanding level for yourself, the people you know, and the children that you grow and watch, your cousins or anybody else that may, if possible, if there's any information in anything that I say that you can use, that's the interpretation value. This is what we use. And the most negative things, are you positive enough? And I know I have very, very many negative things, but my lifestyle, as far as I'm concerned, I don't act according to the negativity. I don't take advantage of your daughters at clubs and bars. I don't go there anyway. I don't take advantage of drugs and pharmaceuticals and uses. I don't take advantage of these things. I take advantage of just the money-making opportunity I have in my current position. I take advantage of my partner and her availability to have fun and enjoy myself. I take advantage of the child whenever she's bored, play fun, have some fun here. So when we have something to do and relate, or I put her to work, make her do her name about 3 to 5 times each. Those are things that I take advantage of. And we're using that wordplay in a convenient manner, or in some kind of coincidental manner, if you will, because the way we use words is very, very, very important. Maybe I said this before, but I'm going to repeat it for the sake of it. I was speaking to an interesting fellow down here in Florida, as another convicted fucking idiot. And I joked, well, actually, I was serious at the time. I said I was going to go back to school and perhaps get my priesthood out the way. And he says, priesthood? Oh, you want to put your thing in little boys' holes. That's the way he worded it. And I just, instead of fighting back against him and calling him a fucking idiot, I said, yes, I want to put my thing in little boys' holes, but listen to the interpretation value of it. This is where humanity gets fucked. I know what he meant, the sexual perv. And I wanted to put my thing into little boys' holes. See, it's a different visual perspective on how things are said and how things are taken afterwards. You, the sick-minded individual with the sick friends that you have and the comedy factors that you guys use together, will not let you put those meanings of the words together in a different format. You will look at it as the dirty way, or the way that was intended by the group, your friends, so on and so forth. And that's your problem with communication, ladies and gentlemen. Because at the end of that day, I assume from my own personal experience of bullshit conversations in public, I have gone home. I have altered my mind and had a whole rethinking process on the wordplay that I heard that night. And I was able to play with those words at a different meaning. Well, that's because I overthink every goddamn situation. And up coming with a different meaning towards the perversion. Instead of keeping it perverted, I found a way to clean it up. So if that's possible and you can dirty the clean and clean up the dirty, I guess you can polish a turd, which has been proven by Mythbusters that a turd will get shiny and polished, but a turd's a turd at the end of the day. Right? Right. All right. The next post, moving on up here, just to give, reap your rewards, whilst we suffer the consequences. One day, we shall reap from these consequences as you suffer from your rewards. I guess the joke would be that the greedy 1%ers have everything, and we're the ones suffering by not getting our promotions or business deals, contracts, or jobs, or anything. We'll bitch and complain and claim that there's a 1% out there. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm poking at really with this. Because if anybody follows history and facts and gives a shit to know anybody's fucking name out there, then George Soros should be a name that all of you guys have an intriguing eye and ear on. Because this gentleman has a documented video performance of his life story explaining how he, a Jew, was taken in by Nazis to be raised by them for a safe life. I get what was the point? Because Hitler was killing Jews, the Nazis were killing the Jews, and the story he claims that his family made a deal with Hitler and the Nazis to keep his little boy alive and protected. This little Jew boy protected by the Nazis. Thought the Nazis killed every fucking Jew. So what do they want with this one? This one who has a history of ruining every other country's currencies. History and facts, ladies and gentlemen. And you allow this gentleman to keep making public speeches. He's now kind of hidden in the shadows. You really have to research the videos he releases currently for you to get a grasp of it. He also has a history of having about 6 different heart transplants, which makes you wonder now, when you or your family member needed one, where was it? Mr. Soros took it, that fucking greedy fucking bastard who's control. Okay. Dig into some shit. Research your names. Don't just throw it on the side because it doesn't affect me. Everything affects you. These motherfuckers who have say over your laws, your words, your corporations, and how these little things are written down in fine print, it's controlled by people like Soros, one person, and Knights of the Round Table. So about 12 people who really have control of every fucking thing. And they get all these, it's financial rewards, and it's an easier life reward, you see, because we don't follow their taxes and we don't ask for their tax returns. No, we ask for Donald Trump's tax returns because you claim you don't like him. All due respect, Republican, Democrat, I don't give a flying fuck. I joked when I was younger, about 13, 14, younger. Maybe this country needs a businessman to run for president. Lo and behold, I'd eat my fucking words years later when Trump is the one that wins it and becomes the first businessman in my book, in my lifetime at least, to become a real president. I liked him, by the way, so I don't care about your opinion. I liked him. I liked the fact that he spoke his way, and even if he's full of shit and he was probably bad, this guy opened your ears to a different form of communication. And today's media, I've seen nothing but Democratic and Biden attacks. So you dumbasses voted for, what was that told? Oh, we didn't vote for Biden. We just voted against Trump. There's your Americans. There's your leadership and why dumbasses are in office. It's admitted by your neighbors in an everyday conversation that you forget about come voting season, come election time. Skip and ignore. It doesn't affect me. Really? Okay. Then reap your reward while we suffer the consequences. And now you seem to be suffering from your reward, and I'm not getting goddamn thing out of it either. So thanks for fucking us all. Let's see, these posts actually can move on kind of fast. So that beginning spiel was pretty good, was it not? Huh? All right. Next post. Worthy. Hey, everyone is worthy except for the exceptions. Wordplay. Wordplay is all that is. Of course you're worthy. Everybody's worthy. Put in for the promotion. Put in for the job. Of course you're worthy. Except for the exceptions. My name is Peanuts. My reputation is Peanuts. I am nothing but dirt. I am nothing to these people. And when they get to know me, they say, oh shit, he's crazy. Okay, I don't know. I mean, to each their own, but I don't get job offers just like that. When I worked down here, my very first job, I worked in a backlot, so it was more customer servicey. I got to speak with a lot of them. And one of the customers actually invited me over for a Christmas bashing, not Christmas bashing, a Christmas party at her house when she found out that I was of Syrian descent, number one, and that my family was going back home to get together, and I was stuck down here by myself. Immediately after her, about 3, 4, 5 customers later, I met another one who happens to be a veteran caretaker, if you will. She's a VA paper-pushing criminal. Paper-pushing criminal. She knows the ins and outs of she represents the VA, and she'll con her way into your life. She'll get you the appropriate benefits. I'm just saying, then you end up owing her for the rest of your life because she set you up for life, technically. And that's how that works. And she set me up for failure. So go fuck yourself, Tammy. Go fuck yourself. I've seen your photos on the group. Fuck you. Now, why do I say that? We and this lady were in communication. She recommended this group and blah, blah, blah. And after some time had gone by, I get a random text message from her. Hey, is this Ibrahim? I said to myself, we had been talking already. How did you fucking know? I know people delete numbers and shit like that. I know that. But in that text message history, my name is in there quite a few times. So what? And I said yes. Oh, great. Well, how things are going? Oh, not too good, actually. I'm looking for work now, and I lost my job and such and such. Once she heard I lost my job, I imagine, she stopped her communication with me. And when I left the group that I used to be a part of, she came back. Oh, coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence, sweetheart. Set up. She was the bitch at the stop sign that knew my routine, tried to grab me, found out I had no weakness towards drugs or criminality, and said, fuck him. Which is interesting because the group that I was in, the same group, one of the ladies there had actually openly voiced that I should run for a leadership position called the Sergeant of Arms, which in their group was just the guy who introduces and brings in the new blood and lets them know what to expect of what we do here and so on and so forth. I was a good speaker. I was a very good speaker. At least they say that was. And I told her I would refuse the position, especially being new to the group. And not only that, but new to Florida, that with all due respect, if my home is still broken, how can I really think to help fix another home? Which she respected as a general idea and understood why I turned it down from there. Now, obviously, our homes will always have a little crack and break to it. Our personal lives always have some kind of negative thing. So you can't sit here and say, well, my life will never be fixed then. No, I mean, when I say my life is broken, it means there's turmoil financially. We're still not settled mentally, job-wise, performance-wise, social-wise, settled down the area, community, and so on and so forth. We haven't settled down yet. I don't have a routine in mind, social standing in the community, a reputation at work, a name other than peanuts. Okay, well, give me time to grow my name and grow up. It didn't work out for me. I didn't have enough time in the group or at the new job. Things went sour for me very quickly, and I currently am where I am today because of that. And we'll dig into more appropriate reasons on how I got there when I decide to speak on them, because at the time they're not meant for the subjects that I'm covering. But my life is the main subject, and my life will eventually have to bring in these memories of everything that I kind of went through, how I went through them, how I perceived them, what I think was really going on, and, you know, the overthinking process. I let myself do it, and then every Friday now, recently, number 9 today, I just vented out. And venting out to my partner is one thing. Venting out on Facebook is another thing. Just writing it down in a journal is a whole nother format. For me, to be able to break a comfort zone, come live to a degree, even if it's not live, just recording a video, seeing myself, seeing my face, gets me too nervous to the point where I'm uncomfortable. But I want to comfort myself to this point because, like the Indian tribes, the Indian stories, I want to give the words with emotion behind it, as opposed to just written down, feel free to interpret it yourself. I don't give you Matthew 2:16. I give you a solid foundation of wordplay and emotions, hopefully, that go with the feelings that I have towards the subjects and situations, and the feelings that I have especially towards the overthinking process that I go through. And what I'm, I guess, attempting to do in some degree is make you guys think more than you want to. It's uncomfortable. It gets in our way, and we claim. I swear to God, I said so. We just claim that it has no effect on me. It doesn't have anything to do with it. It does. It really does. But to each their own, how they perceive all that. Okay. I'm going to share a couple of more things after I read this final post, because I'm going to bring out my Edgar Allan Poe text, and I'm going to read 2 poems on there. One of them is Annabel Lee. The other one is called Alone, and the other one's called Alone. And I took 2 interesting lines. Well, one line from each, and they ended up into 2 different lines because they meshed together. So let me read them for you, because that is the post. First quote: "We loved with a love that was more than love." And then I wrote, but ... Another quote now from Alone: "All I loved alone." Right? Now I'm going to sit tight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read these out to you. Okay. Okay. The first one is Annabel Lee, and I will try to get to it as clearly and quickly as I can. Okay. "It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know, by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee. With a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that, long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in the sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by my side, of thy darling, my life and my bride, in the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. The next one is called Alone. Short one. From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were, I have not seen. As others saw, I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow, I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone. And all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still, from the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm, and the cloud that took form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. Yeah, I know he was a creepy individual. I understand that. But I took those two lines on an interesting perspective value myself. I know he was a tormented soul himself. We're all tormented souls to some degree. That's if you believe in that kind of shit. But we loved with a love that was more than love. But all I loved alone. And I could look at that interpretation as, you know, I liked your quirkiness, but you didn't love yourself. I loved you, but you never loved me back. I love myself, but you never truly loved me. Hell, I loved you, but you don't even love yourself. Hey, all I loved from his writings, I loved them alone because nobody else loves them. I love my water that I filled with a little red mayo flavor thingy, and nobody else likes that flavor. So all I love alone. I eat, my partner eats a honey turkey. I do not. So all she loves alone. And that meat she loves alone. So she's a little bit selfish in that department, right? But we can look at those interpretations in infinite ways to our own liking, our own 613 fucking meaning, even though it's the same goddamn line. Joey, Mark, Tootsie, Wootsie, and Mootsie, and Footsie, and Rootsie, and Mootsie all read it and interpreted it their own fucking way because they were going through their own thing. Okay, to each their own. To each their own. That brings pretty much of a close. Let me bring these over here. Here we go. Okay. I mentioned maybe 2 videos ago or so that I was in a play for college, and I had forgotten to post the script, but here it is. The play we did was called A Midsummer Night's Dream, Shakespeare, and the role that I played was Demetrius. I had this set up before. Let me see here. Let me quick read on who my character was. So Demetrius was meant to marry one of the characters, and that character was in love with another character, and it was a weird love square, a love square. Two males, 2 females. And a love juice kind of screws things out of proportion, and then they finally kind of fix things towards the end of it. I kind of rambled through that, but I played it. I played this goddamn role right with my last quarter at Berkeley, I believe. And remember, they're called quarters for us, not semesters. The capriciousness of lovers is the theme of this romantic and entertaining comedy, given frivolous performances by the Royal Berkeley Shakespeare Company. Yeah, the librarian, she made her own group for the college. Act 1, Scene 1, that's pretty much all we did. The play takes place in mythical Greek past, decorations and all. Yeah, we decorated, we wore the togas, we wore the outfits. It was an interesting experience, and I'll leave it at that. It was a very interesting experience. I studied, man. This is my QPA for the military. All these here. It's handmade, homemade flashcards for my wings test when I was on the USS Nimitz deployment. The levels of war, tactical, operational, and strategic, state of components driven by the AMAD, the hydraulic pump, the generator, the motor flow boost pump, the turbine starter control, the PTS shaft, flight packet used for to assist pilots involved in extending flights to obtain materials or services necessary for the continuation of a flight, importance of the Coral Sea, discuss icing and its effects on naval aircraft. Here's my PQAS, one of many. Personal qualification standard for enlisted aviation warfare specialist. My wings, civilian wings, not civilian wings, enlisted wings. Pardon me, enlisted wings. Actually, in here as well. That's my checkout sheet, cocksucker. I didn't get frocked because of that. Enlisted aviation warfare. I have my surface warfare in here as well, but I can't seem to find it. No, that's for FA-18 AM apprenticeship. Okay, my apologies. Completion of non-residential courses, Marine course. Okay. Here's something interesting. January 15th, 2009. This is a counseling sheet in which I ended up getting a 4.0. I got a 4.0. Three must promotes, one early promote, and one promotable. Yeah, this was very good. 3.5. I got a 3.5. Sorry, a 3.5 out of 5. Okay, so what I have here. All right. I had a 1986 Mustang Fox body, powerful motherfucker, custom built by some idiot, and I bought it. Okay, and it ran well until I brought it back to New Jersey, and I ended up giving it to my father because I owed him a Mustang after crashing and breaking, totaling 2 of them. But when I had the 86 down in South Carolina, I ended up cutting a piece of traffic, and I lost control when I cut back into my lane, and I swerved on the curb, the sidewalk curb, and I broke my rear axle. But the guy I cut off ended up being a Marine on base, and he followed me back to base, yelled at me, found my parking, chewed me out, called the MPs, and we had a hatting out. When I went to court for it, I was given 4 points, and I had to give remedial driver training. However, it got dismissed. Why? All right, ready, military folks? What I did to this gentleman happened on civilian property outside of base. The idiot went on to base and reported it to base police. Now, Marines get promoted based off of their reputations and standings. So this was a sergeant that done fucked up his rules and regulations. Oopsie daisy. So he calls the MPs, military police. Military police file the report. I go to court. The judge is a general, a general on the base, not the general of the base, a general on the base. And after chewing me out first, he further read into the report and says, well, hold on a minute, young man. Did this happen outside of base? I said, yes, sir, it did. And he says, is the Marine present? Marine, stand front. Sailor, you're dismissed. And I walked the fuck out of there. Now I sat and listened. And it turned out, obviously, where he went wrong. See, when military gets punished in the military world, they get punished military world. When the military fucks up in the civilian world, they fuck them up civilian-wise, the local police, the local courts, and then they fuck him up in the military courts and the military police. Well, this guy went to the wrong original police. It was supposed to go through civilian police. They have permission to come onto base to file the civilian report that then gets documented as a military report and used against you ×2. Didn't happen. He ended up only using the military MP reports, and that was the improper method to do. Marine, the improper method to do, Mr. Marine. So he got screwed out as far as I'm concerned. All right. This is a photo album Ooh. Ooh. All my Bradley Beach stuff. The one and only calling card that I used all deployment. I mean, I refilled this just to call an ex. Couple of photos of me on the boat. Couple of photos of me on the boat. Couple of photos. You know. Let's see if we can find a worthy shot. And this was us pulling back into San Diego. A refuel boat. John Nihenke. Okay. Yep. That's John Nihenke in the uniform, besides the two guards here that I caught fucking around smoking. We were smoking on the deck too. And then we went bowling afterwards at Cordova Lanes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. At Cordova Lanes. It was a good day. It was a good day. I will put that away. It was a very, very good day. These were when some prideful moments. My name is on that aircraft. Yeah. Plane captains all got their names eventually attached to them. That's me at the Singapore Zoo, enjoying myself on one of their statuesque rhinos. Sleeping on the drop tank. Me in my house, my brother in the background. Yeah, young me, huh? Short hair and all. The outside of the Marine Corps Air Station base has these propped up F-18s. Having some fun with paintball. They hurt. Yeah, I know. Anybody who's gone paintballing with my buddy Blair. You know, shooting around. My barracks room. Simons, November 3, 24, baby. Room failures and all, right? Stand up for ourselves. And here's my buddy Simons right there. And don't call me racist. Don't call me racist. Nobody else out there who's met me and has had racial conversations with me will call me a fucking racist. Y'all are the racists. Y'all segregate yourselves. Y'all taboo words, word plays, and word usages yourselves. I use those word plays to taboo them back to you because you claim to be bad, wrong, negative, whatever it may be, and you fuck us with it, I'm gonna fuck you back with it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on this week's session of the Laughing Lamp Conversation, Salty Coat Conversation number 9 with your host, myself, Jin of the Lamp. And I hope I was some form of interfere today with some of my discussions and my intriguing light, if you will. I'll start posting again on Monday, and I'll see you, ladies and gentlemen, next week. Now, as a matter of fact, maybe you know what? I see there's a few people in this room. So for anybody who's interested, I'm trying to. I guess I'm cutting back on the Q&A section because I don't see too much involvement in it. So I'm interpreting those statistics to some degree, and I realized that maybe the Q&A wasn't working out. Perhaps when it grows in volume, if it ever grows in volume, I will have more people chatting throughout the session because they want to shit talk me. They want to shit talk my beliefs and ideologies. They want to shit talk what I said. Perhaps give me the chance. That's where your fear, I think, is. Give me the chance to be analytical and critical of your stupid grammatical errors when you type things to people on Twitch chats and things like that. I watch streams. I watch things like that. I've posted. I've had my shit read, and I've been criticized by the streamer themselves. At the same time, I've also caught certain streamers off guard with questions, with responses. So I'm a pertinent person to some degree. I have some say somewhere where it can catch people's attention, and it's part of the 1+1 factor that pushed me to do these kinds of streams. On top of the old Indian theory, or the Native Americans passing down a story, memoir, memory of themselves and their culture through words that you can interpret differently, but for the most part, it's a good guiding words. But if I were to write those words down on just pen and paper, book, a stone, you'll have the chance to interpret it in a manner in which all of a sudden you are now allowed 9 wives. Somehow, wordplay of our past religions have been interpreted into what they are today, with some of the weirdest segregative values I have ever seen in my life, in the 32 years of my little young life. Take that into consideration when you think about any fucking decision that you make in your life and how things get to where they get to. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me this week at the Laughing Lamp, my retreat where we treat you the way you have treated us. I am your host, Jin of the Lamp. Stay well and be safe.